Discover the incredible and heartwarming secrets of Viking raiders' unexpected practices revealed. Sam's heart raced as he flipped through his great-grandfather's old journal, dust motes dancing in the filtered sunlight. Each vivid tale of Viking raids told not just of bloodshed, but of fierce loyalty, improbable alliances, and communities banding together against adversity. This neglected treasure in his attic held echoes of bravery that touched him deeply, igniting a spark he thought he had lost in the grind of everyday life in Maplewood. In the crumbling pages, he found a map of a long-forgotten spirit that had once united even the most disparate souls, something he desperately needed. His father's auto repair shop struggled against the weight of the world. Piles of unpaid bills loomed over them like storm clouds, threatening their home and their memories. Weekends that once filled their backyard with laughter now felt hollow, silence grabbing hold where joy used to dance. But the Viking spirit? It whispered of resilience. It roused a fire in his belly, a vision to revive both the shop and the town he loved. As Sam shared his idea of a local festival with the townsfolk, the reaction was mixed. Interest sparked in some eyes, and in others, a flicker of disdain. Jake, his childhood friend, scoffed, "You really think a festival is gonna turn things around? We've got bills to pay, man." The doubt started stacking up like rusting car parts in the shop. Yet Sam couldn't shake the Viking tales from his mind. He envisioned families reconnecting over history, barbecues sizzling, laughter echoing through the streets once more. What he hadn't foreseen was how this endeavor would unintentionally split the town, revealing undercurrents of resentment and fear. And there was his brother, David, a war veteran haunted by demons of his own. He stood at the fringes, an invisible spectator in a narrative Sam had written without him. A tight knot formed in Sam's chest, a sense of duty battling with the fear of failure, swirling together like oil and water. As preparations unfolded and excitement bubbled, Sam buried himself in details. He decorated the town square, handed out flyers, and still managed to fix cars alongside. Yet, with every passing day, the criticism stung sharper. Would he ever be seen as a leader? Would his festival be the capstone or tombstone of his father's legacy? Then came the day of the festival, filled with both promise and worry. Sam's heart beat frantically as clouds began to gather overhead. But as he stood on the makeshift stage, looking out at the crowd, despair washed over him like cold rain. Just then, David stepped into the light, drawing all eyes. His expression shifted from pained stoicism to raw vulnerability. "I've faced battles," he began, his voice trembling yet steady. "Fights you can't see. But it's the unity I miss, something the Vikings understood: community. Survival, together." An electric silence filled the air, a moment of recognition tightening the space between them all. As emotions bubbled to the surface, the town held its breath, teetering on the cusp of connection or collapse. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As David opened up about his struggles, the tension melted away. Folks exchanged glances, some tear-streaked, others filled with newfound empathy. At that moment, Sam realized something monumental had shifted. This festival wasn't just about celebration, it was a raw opportunity to heal. Could this be the turning point their community needed? But a bigger question loomed in the air. Could they carry this momentum past the festival? Would this bond withstand the trials ahead? Sam looked out at the crowd, a mixture of hope and uncertainty washing over him as the stories of their past collided with the uncertain future ahead. The seed of change was planted, but would it grow into something lasting? As the festival buzzed around him, Sam felt the energy crackling in the air. The laughter of children mingled with the sizzling sounds from food stalls. It was a tapestry of humanity, each thread vibrant and alive. Yet, there was still a weight on his shoulders. David's words echoed in his mind, a challenge and a prayer all wrapped in one. Could they really come together? With a deep breath, Sam stepped off the stage, determined to weave through the crowd. He needed to connect to understand the doubts that flickered in some faces, the hope radiating from others. As he moved, he caught snatches of conversations. Jake stood over by the grill, reluctantly flipping burgers while keeping an eye out for customers. Sam forced a smile and approached him. "Hey, Jake. You okay?" Yeah, Jake muttered, the doubt still hovering thick in his voice. "Just trying to see if it's worth all this fuss, you know. I mean, we've got real problems." "True," Sam replied, his heart sinking a little. "But what if this is our chance to do something? To make people feel alive again?" Jake stopped flipping burgers, looking right at him. There was a spark of something behind his eyes, a flicker of the friend Sam had grown up with. "You really believe that?" "Yeah. I do," Sam said, feeling a rush of conviction, but as he stepped away, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that not everyone was as hopeful. Gathering courage, he approached a small circle of older folk sitting at a picnic table, their faces cut with lines of worry. "Hi there. How's everything going?" he asked, forcing cheer into his voice. They looked up slowly, skepticism creeping in. "It's nice, I guess," one of the women said, her voice hesitant. "But this doesn't change the fact that things are falling apart around us." That hurt. Sam felt the sting, but he understood. They had lived through hard times. "I hear you. It's scary. But maybe this is the first step in something bigger. We can't control everything, but we can control how we come together." Silence hung heavy as they exchanged glances. Sam took a breath, pushing his own doubts aside. What if you had a say in how this town could grow? What if we took our stories, the ones that brought us here, and found ways to support each other? The group stirred, a storm of emotions brewing beneath their expressions. Sam hoped he saw a hint of agreement. "We just need to listen to one another. The Vikings, they didn't always agree, but they fought for each other. Can we start with that?" As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sam felt a strange optimism swell inside. This gathering was just a first step, but each connection felt like a win. As laughter broke out again nearby, he turned to find David approaching. With a weary but determined look, he stepped to Sam's side. "Looks like you're starting to break through," David remarked, tilting his head toward the group. Sam smiled. "Maybe. I just need to keep pushing, to keep talking. This goes beyond a single day." But as the festival continued, Sam couldn't shake off a gnawing worry. Was he strong enough? Would the unity they were building withstand the storms lurking on the horizon? With shadows stretching long as night approached, he grasped David's arm. "We can't let fear win, right?" David nodded solemnly, the weight of shared burden settling between them. But even as they stood united, a flutter of unease whispered at the edges of Sam's mind, an inkling he couldn't ignore. What if their progress was fragile? What if they faced a challenge that could tear them apart instead of bringing them closer? The festival glowed around them, but Sam's heart held a question that lingered like the evening air. How much longer could this fragile peace hold? Would the town break free from its chains of fear, or would Sam and David's fight for unity become another sad page in Maplewood's history? The sky darkened as night fell, casting a bluish hue over the festival. Strings of twinkling lights fluttered above, creating a magical atmosphere. Sam could see and hear laughter still echoing from all corners, but it felt like a faraway sound now. The warmth of unity had begun to fade, replaced by an unwelcome chill of uncertainty. He glanced back at David, who scanned the crowd with an intensity that mirrored Sam's own worries. "Let's get some air," David suggested, sensing the weight pressing down on Sam. They wandered away from the main festivities, the eager clang of music fading behind them. They found a quiet spot near the edge of the park, a small grove of trees that stood like sentinels, untouched by the bustle of the festival. Have you noticed how quiet the older folks have been? Sam asked, his voice low, almost lost in the rustling leaves. They seem defeated somehow. David nodded. Yeah. They've seen a lot, you know. They carry those burdens heavier than anyone. But what do we do? We can't just ignore it. Sam ran a hand through his hair, frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. I thought tonight could spark something, remind everyone of their strength, their togetherness. But it's hard when the past keeps dragging at their feet. Maybe we need to share our own stories, David said thoughtfully. Get them talking. If we open up, maybe they will too. It could show them they're not alone in what they feel. I like that idea, Sam replied, his spirits lifting a little. But sharing can be tough. It's like peeling back layers of hurt and memory. David looked straight at him. That's the point. It's terrifying to face it, but if we can find common ground through pain, laughter, failure, maybe we can turn this tide. With renewed determination, they moved back toward the crowd. As they navigated through the throngs of people, Sam noticed the warmth returning gradually. He spotted Jake again, still flipping burgers, and this time he waved him over. Hey, buddy. Why don't you join us? Sam called out. Jake looked surprised but ambled over after a moment's hesitation. What's this? Jake asked with an eyebrow raised. David and I thought it might help to share some stories. We want to open a dialogue, make connections. You in? Sam asked, trying to infuse his enthusiasm into the invitation. Jake shifted on his feet, his expression flickering between skepticism and curiosity. Fine. But just remember, people can be resistant. We can handle that, David replied with a smile. Let us gather everyone we can. We're all in this together. As they collected people from various corners, a strange mix of excitement and anxiety buzzed among them. There was a collective hesitance, but curiosity sparked in many eyes. Under the wooden archway draped with autumn leaves, Sam stood at the front, heart racing. Everyone, he called out, thank you for being here tonight. We want to create a safe space, share stories and listen. Let us bring our community back together. He felt the weight of countless gazes, some warm, some questioning, but they were all watching intently now. As one older gentleman finally spoke, what exactly are we supposed to say? It felt like the floodgates were about to open. Just then, a loud crash echoed nearby as a group of rowdy teenagers tumbled over a table, laughter erupting among them. The moment shattered but also lightened the atmosphere, prompting giggles from the crowd. Sam felt hopeful the night was alive, and then, in a moment of perfect timing, he realized the opportunity in chaos. Maybe it's a bit more about what we need rather than what we say. But would their stories and shared experiences be enough to heal Maplewood's wounds? As dawn approached over the festival, could the connections they formed withstand the inevitable storms ahead? Sam held his breath, waiting for the conversation to unfold, wishing deeply for something unexpected to emerge from the chaos. What would be revealed if they truly opened up? The crowd buzzed with a curious energy as Sam stood before them, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The laughter from the nearby teenagers lingered in the air, a reminder of joy amidst uncertainty. Faces shifted from skepticism to intrigue, a collective breath held, waiting for someone to break the silence. An older woman emerged from the back, her features softened by years of laughter and sorrow. I remember the last time we sat together like this, she said, her voice steady but gentle. But back then, it was different. We shared stories, memories that filled the room. Now, it feels like we've lost our way. That's exactly it, Sam said, feeling a spark grow inside him. We have to find our way back. We owe it to ourselves, to each other. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. David stepped forward, his presence commanding yet warm. Let us start with something simple. How about we share one good memory from the festival over the years? Something that made you smile. As he spoke, the tension eased, smiles broke like dawn over their faces, and a few hands shot up in eagerness. Sam felt the air shift. He leaned forward, listening intently as a man in his 60s recounted a memory from his childhood, a summer night filled with fireworks and family laughter. Others soon followed, sharing their favorite moments like candles flickering as they caught the flame of nostalgia. With each story, the atmosphere felt lighter. Connections blossomed where there had been hesitation. Sam noticed groups forming, people nodding along, laughter spilling freely. Each shared memory acted like a thread, weaving them closer despite the past's burden. Jake chimed in, recounting the time he almost set the grill on fire during a competition. Groans mingled with laughter as he added, "But hey, the burgers turned out great after that, right?" The audience erupted, the moment somehow a metaphor for resilience amidst chaos. As the stories flowed, Sam's chest swelled with hope. He realized they weren't just sharing stories, they were knitting together the fabric of their community. Each laugh reduced barriers, each sigh of remembrance wrapped them in courage. Yet, amid the joy, there was still an underlying tension, a reminder that these moments, while healing, couldn't erase the struggles etched in their lives. But just as someone was about to delve deeper into their pain, a sharp cry rang out. The same group of teenagers who had created the earlier chaos screeched as one of them flipped over a cart, their carefree laughter abruptly turning to startled gasps. Sam felt a thread of anxiety again weave through the gathered crowd. He turned, ready to help diffuse any fallout. But much to his surprise, the teenagers began to laugh, clapping each other on the back as they stumbled to their feet. Laughter spread, catching like wildfire through the crowd. The joy erupted again, infectious and real. Sam's heart raced as he thought about how quickly joy could return, yet how fragile it was too. "See," David said, elbowing Sam. "Chaos brings new life sometimes. It shakes us awake." Just then, an older man, who had remained silent throughout, finally stood and cleared his throat. "What if we learn something from those kids over there?" he said. "They don't hold back. They take risks, live in the moment. We could learn to do the same." There was a pause as the crowd absorbed his words. It felt like a pivotal moment, holding the weight of potential and uncertainty. Sam's chest tightened. A surge of ambition mingled with fear coursed through him. What if taking that leap led to new revelations? What if they could face the darkness together, armed with laughter and vulnerability? The question hung in the air, pregnant with possibilities. Would they take that step into the unknown, allowing the chaos of life to guide them toward healing? Sam felt every gaze on him, waiting for the next move, for a signal of what was to come. Could they embrace the risk together? The night still held secrets, and Sam knew that revealing them would test the very fibers of their community. What would emerge from loosening their tightly held fears? Would their courage carry them to a place of rediscovery, or would they find themselves lost in the tumult once more? The words hung in the air, thick with anticipation as the crowd shifted restlessly. Sam could almost feel the weight of their collective hope pressing against him like a tangible force. Would they really follow this new path, one paved with uncertainty yet glimmering with the promise of connection and healing? "Let us take inspiration from the kids," David said, breaking the stillness. "Why don't we try something crazy? A spontaneous game or activity, just like they would do?" There were hesitant chuckles, but as he looked around, Sam noticed glimmers of excitement igniting in faces that once appeared so weary. "Maybe a team challenge?" A voice chimed in from the back, full of enthusiasm. "Like relays or some sort of absurd race. Just to shake things up." Laughter rippled through the crowd, transforming uncertainty into curiosity. Sam felt a surge of exhilaration. Could they really let go and play like kids again, if only for a moment? "All right then," Sam said, encouraged by their growing enthusiasm. "Let us break into groups. We can keep it simple, a silly race around the park. And why not? We need to remind ourselves of the joy in just letting loose." With newfound energy, the crowd buzzed with chatter as the groups formed. Children darted excitedly towards their friends, whispering and giggling like they were plotting an epic adventure. Adults exchanged glances, shy smiles on their faces as they joined in with the abandon of their younger counterparts. The air seemed to shift as the shadows of past doubts began to dissipate into laughter. As Sam instigated the first race, a three-legged sprint, an unexpected thrill rushed through him. The participants fumbled, laughter mingling with the sounds of their shuffling feet. It was chaotic, yes, but in that moment, chaos felt liberating. The onlookers cheered as the pairs toppled over, picking themselves up only to laugh harder. Meanwhile, one older woman, her white hair gleaming like a beacon, shouted encouragement from the sidelines, her spirit infectious. "Come on! You can do it! Faster!" Her enthusiasm lit a fire in those watching, drawing them into the energy like moths to a flame. Sam's heart raced as he observed faces soften, smiles bloom wide as youthfulness sprinkled over their worries. For some, the laughter was a release, a catharsis from burdens they had carried too long. They were rekindling lost connections, embracing vulnerability with each step. With every ridiculous moment shared, the crowd shed layers of hesitation. People who once stood rigid now danced in the grass, hands in the air like children freed from the weight of the world. Sam realized they were no longer just sharing memories, they were creating new ones. They were drawing strength together, laughter acting as the thread weaving through their community. Just then, a sudden enthusiasm erupted as a small boy, who had been standing back, joined the fray. He ran up to a group of teenagers, a look of fearless determination on his face. "Can I join the race?" he shouted, his voice cutting through the merriment like a knife. The older kids stopped, surprise evident in their eyes. "Of course," one of them replied, grinning down at him. But then, Sam noticed a flicker of hesitation pass through the older group. They needed to stop and consider. Would they embrace this youthful spirit that dared to break through their walls? As the boy jumped into the fray, Sam held his breath, wondering if this was a turning point, a moment that could draw even the most guarded individuals closer. Would they let him in, or would those barriers of age and expectation hold them back? What would happen if they took the leap together? Would their fears finally begin to fade, allowing an entirely new way of connecting to bloom in its place? Sam could sense it, the breath of change, almost tangible in the night air. The race was just beginning, and so was their journey into the unknown. Would they keep running, pushing forward into this unpredictable terrain, or retreat back to their previous norms? The reality of that choice loomed before him, magnified by laughter and hope. Sam considered the stakes, and a single thought echoed within him what awaited them on the other side of uncertainty. The boy dashed forward, his laughter bright above the cheers. It was a sound that wrapped around Sam, pulling him deeper into the shared excitement swelling around him. He watched as the older kids knelt, eyes glimmering with newfound purpose. A moment of hesitation broke like a wave on a shore, giving way to joy. They welcomed the boy with open arms, and soon, he was tangled up with them, legs tied together as they struggled to stay upright. The laughter became a symphony, punctuated by voices of all ages joining in the fun. As the races continued, four-legged to piggybacks, every stumble was met with more laughter, every victory celebrated with screams of delight. Sam moved closer to the sidelines, his heart swelling. This was more than just a game, it was a revival of spirit, a reminder that the innocence of childhood never truly leaves us, it just hides behind the seriousness of life. "Look at them go!" a woman beside him exclaimed, her eyes sparkling as she pointed at two adults who had refused to participate initially. They now sprinted, utterly ridiculous, with their arms flailing as they chased one another. "They're really into it." "Yeah, it's incredible to see," Sam replied, a smile etching itself across his face. He felt alive, buoyed by the energy of the crowd. Just then, the three-legged race began again, and Sam decided he couldn't just stand there. He grabbed his partner, a man in his late 40s whose own laughter was infectious. "You ready for this?" Sam grinned. "Always. Let us show them how it's done." The man replied, determination soaking his words. They stumbled and fell, laughter erupting as they struggled to find their rhythm. He felt the energy of encouragement from the sidelines, their cheers pulsating through the air. With every fumbled step, they wove a little more lives into their tapestry of connection. It was exhilarating, freeing, and for every moment they stumbled, there was an equally joyous and hilarious recovery. With each round, new faces joined the races. Sam felt something deeper taking root. This wasn't just a park filled with members from the community any longer. They had evolved into a family, basking in shared vulnerability and support. It was a gallery of joy painted across the park with every race. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow, the excitement shifted toward a more reflective tone. "Can we keep this going?" someone called, wiping away tears of laughter. Sam glanced around, absorbing the sight, their faces alight, their bodies alive. Everyone sharing an experience that defied age or expectation. An idea sparked within him, brightening the moment. What if we make this a weekly thing? Games in the park. Community challenges. Let us build on this. The crowd erupted in cheers. It felt like a promise that they would not retreat into silence again, but instead, build a lasting connection with each laughter-filled moment. Their cheers cascaded into the evening air, lifted by a canopy of stars. Sam couldn't help but envision what could come next: summer barbecues, music, art, connections deepening beyond the park, weaving into the fabric of their lives. But then, he noticed the boy again, the one who so bravely leaped in. He stood awestruck, eyes wide and hands on his hips, clearly overwhelmed yet enraptured. Sam's heart squeezed. Would the young ones be the ones to push this renewed sense of community forward? As if reading his thoughts, the boy's gaze shifted to meet Sam's, a spark of determination burning bright. Sam's pulse quickened. This was just the beginning, but would they fully embrace this newfound connection that had begun to bloom? Would they allow their hearts to stay open, unguarded in bravery and friendship? Tonight, they had found a piece of that magic, but what would it take for them to hold on to it forever? The questions lingered in the air, buoyed by laughter and the promise of tomorrow. The next morning, Sam awoke filled with excitement. The light streaming through his window seemed brighter, as if the sun itself was reinforcing the promise of yesterday. He stretched, feeling the pull of new possibilities, and rushed to get ready. The park was buzzing again, with anticipation hanging in the air like the scent of fresh grass. As he arrived, he spotted the boy back at the park, this time with a small group of children eagerly brainstorming ideas. Their animated chatter drew Sam in, and he stopped to listen. They were talking about sports and games, laughter bubbling up with each suggestion. It warmed his heart to see the boy taking the reins, clutching a makeshift clipboard, doodling ideas like a seasoned event planner. "Sam!" the boy shouted, eyes radiant with enthusiasm. "We're planning the first games. Come check this out." Intrigued, Sam stepped closer. The group had created a list of activities, cobbled together from their wild imaginations: three-legged races, sack races, a tug-of-war with a rope fashioned from discarded yards of fabric. "Can you help us organize it?" the boy asked, barely able to contain his excitement. "We want everyone in the community to join in and have a great time." It took a moment for Sam to process the depth of what was happening. This was more than just games, it was a chance for every person in the park to redefine what it meant to be a part of this community. They were moving towards something greater than he ever imagined, and he felt an urge to support these budding ideas. "Absolutely. Let's make sure everyone knows about it," he replied, a rush of purpose surging through him. Before long, Sam found himself in a whirlwind of preparation. News spread quickly. Flyers were handed out, candy was shared, and old friends reconnected as they talked about the upcoming event. The air grew thick with excitement, each day leading them closer to a celebration that felt like it had been waiting to happen. On the day of the games, bright banners decorated the park and laughter intertwined with the sounds of children playing. Sam stood by a booth filled with games, the energy electrifying as families arrived. It was a melting pot of the familiar, old and young, shy and boisterous, each one weaving themselves into this vibrant tapestry. The boy raced by, sticky fingers clutching a box of medals he shared with enthusiasm. "We have real prizes. Everybody can win. This is gonna be amazing." Sam couldn't help but chuckle at the boy's genuine joy. The atmosphere crackled with life, a reminder of how easily people could connect when given the opportunity, yet, amid the excitement, Sam caught a glimpse of an elderly woman sitting alone on a nearby bench, watching the festivities unfold. Her gaze was distant, her smile faint. He felt a pull to reach out, to show her she was part of this moment too. "Hey, would you like to join us?" he called, walking over to her. The woman paused, taken aback by the invitation. Sam knelt beside her, feeling the weight of her loneliness. "We'd love to have you. You can hand out awards later if you'd like." She hesitated, her eyes darting toward the laughter just beyond the bench. Slowly, she nodded and a smile slowly broke across her face. The boy suddenly appeared again, curious about his new friend. "See? Everyone can get in on the fun. Join us." He chimed, wrapping his small hand around hers as if inviting a new family member. In that instant, hope flickered for those who may have felt isolated. Sam knew that the spirit of the park was growing, taking root not just in games and races, but in relationships and community ties. This was what it meant to be together, but as the day wore on, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that there were more stories, more people waiting to be discovered. What would happen if they reached even deeper into their community? Would they find connections that could change lives forever? The thought sparked inside him, urging him to dig deeper and act on it. What might be hidden just beneath the surface, waiting to be unearthed? The sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the park as laughter echoed into the evening air. The games had stirred up more than just smiles, they had awakened a spirit of camaraderie that Sam had only ever dreamed of seeing. Families shared stories over soda and popcorn, while children with dirt-streaked faces celebrated victories with bouncing energy. Sam watched the boy distribute medals, gleefully placing them around children's necks, their eyes sparkling as each one beamed with pride. It filled him with warmth, and in that moment, he realized the true power of the event. It wasn't just about the games, it was about bringing people together. A small cheer erupted as a group of kids finished a sack race, tumbling to the ground in a heap of giggles and shouts. Sam chuckled, feeling light-hearted. There was an infectious joy spreading through the park. It was as if layers of isolation were peeling away, revealing the connections below, but amidst the laughter, Sam's gaze drifted back to the elderly woman from earlier. She was now standing by the sidelines, still smiling but noticeably hesitant. Something thrummed in his heart as he approached her once more. This moment was important. It was about making sure everyone felt included. "Are you ready to help hand out some awards?" he asked with an encouraging smile. Her face softened, and she nodded eagerly. The moment she stepped away from the bench, it was as if a weight had lifted from her shoulders. With Sam at her side, she made her way to the makeshift stage where the children gathered. As she handed out medals, her laugh joined theirs, a sound that sparkled in the air like confetti. Sam watched her transition from a bystander to an integral part of this tiny world they had all created together. As twilight settled in, Sam felt a pang of realization. A thought began to swirl in his mind. Could they take this momentum further? What if there were more people like her? More stories to uncover. He envisioned planning a larger gathering, something that drew everyone in, even those who might be reluctant, those hiding in the shadows. "Hey, do you think we could have more events like this?" Sam asked the boy as they wrapped up for the evening. The boy looked back, eyes wide with excitement. "Totally. We could have a festival. With music and," he began to list ideas, his words spilling out in a rush, full of dreams and energy. Sam couldn't deny the spark of inspiration lighting a fire in his chest. A festival, what a fantastic idea. It wouldn't just celebrate games but highlight the diversity of their community. It could be a celebration that reached every corner, inviting those on the fringes to join in. "Let us do it," Sam said, feeling the excitement bubble over. "Let us make a festival happen." As he turned to see the glowing faces of the children around him, a sudden hush fell over the group, eyes widening at the thought of something bigger on the horizon. There was great potential here, but with it came the pressure of ensuring everyone would be welcomed. They began brainstorming, ideas cascading into the cool evening air. Sam's heart raced with hope, but deeper beneath that lay a worry. What if not everyone embraced the change? What if some chose to remain on the outskirts, just like the elderly woman had at first? The question hung in the air as the night deepened, and Sam could feel the weight of it. The next steps felt crucial. How could they gather not just laughter but also the hesitant hearts, drawing them in to share in something beautiful? With mounting anticipation, they continued planning, unaware of the challenges that lay ahead. They had ignited something special, an opportunity for growth that could uplift every single person in the community. But as lights flickered to life around them, an unexpected figure approached. A stranger, with eyes that seemed to hold stories of their own, watching from the great beyond. What did they bring to the unfolding tapestry of this gathering? Sam felt a shiver of curiosity and concern. Who was this newcomer? And what role would they play in the festival's future? The stranger walked closer, their silhouette bathed in the dim glow of the park lights. Sam could see the glint in their eyes, a flicker of something important just waiting to be shared. The buzz of ideas faded slightly as the children turned, their chatter halting as they sensed the change in the air. A ripple of curiosity spread through the group. "Hi there!" Sam called out, waving a hand in an attempt to break the ice. "We're planning a community festival and could use all the help we can get." The stranger hesitated, then stepped forward, the friendly expression on their face melting the initial tension. "I heard the laughter from afar," they replied, their voice warm yet steady. "It sounds like a wonderful gathering you've begun here." There was a hint of something deeper in their tone, as if they knew more about the event's potential than Sam could imagine. "Thanks. I'm Sam. Just trying to create something special that brings everyone together." "Are you from around here?" Sam asked, his curiosity piqued. The stranger nodded slowly, their gaze wandering over the festive chaos around them. "I grew up just a few blocks from here. This park used to be a second home to me. But over time things changed." Sam felt a twinge in his chest. Time could be cruel, often pulling people apart. "What do you mean?" He probed gently, wanting to understand. "It's easy to get lost, to forget that there are hands reaching out even in the darkest moments," the stranger continued, their eyes now made of reflective pools. "I see the joy you've created, and it stirs something inside me. I'd love to help if you'll let me." He could hardly believe it. Could this stranger be the very change they needed to breathe life into the festival? "We'd be honored. But what can you bring to the table?" A soft smile spread across the stranger's lips. "I have skills in organizing events, and I know how to draw people in, especially those who have felt excluded. Maybe we could include stories from the neighborhood. Everyone has something to share." A spark of realization lit up Sam's mind. "That's it. A storytelling corner. We could have a spot for anyone to share their story. Each tale would weave into the community fabric." Around him, the children's faces brightened at the thought. Their energy bounced back, weaving itself into Sam's hope. It clicked in his mind, the more diverse the crowd, the richer the festival would be. As they exchanged ideas, Sam's spirit soared, but behind the excitement, another thought hovered. Would the stories shared be met with open hearts, or would some remain reluctant? Would they truly unify the community? The shadow of doubt lingered, causing a brief silence. The stranger must have sensed it. "Sometimes the hardest stories are the most transformative," they said softly, their voice drawing everyone closer. "Real connection comes when we open our hearts to understand one another, no matter how vulnerable that feels." The tension in the group dissipated, replaced by a collective breath. Sam looked out at the faces of the children, at the joyous spark that waited to be ignited. What if we made that openness a theme of our festival? Celebrating the beauty of our stories and how they connect us. Heads nodded enthusiastically, the idea taking root. It was bold, yet it had the potential to break barriers and lift souls. Just then, the elderly woman appeared again, drawn by the growing conversation. "I might have a story of my own," she said, her voice like the soft rustle of leaves. Sam's heart swelled. This festival was already beginning to fulfill its promise. As they huddled in a circle, sharing laughter and forming plans, Sam's excitement grew. But still, the lingering question gnawed at him. Would everyone truly embrace the festival and the stories shared? Then, just as laughter bubbled again, the stranger's eyes flashed with intrigue. And maybe I can help with something a bit different. A surprise that could bring even more people into the light. What did they mean by that? Sheer curiosity enveloped Sam, propelling his anticipation even further. What kind of surprise could change everything? The day of the festival dawned bright and clear. Sam stepped outside, feeling the buzz of anticipation hanging in the air like morning dew. The park was alive with vibrant colors, decorations fluttering in the gentle breeze. Everything was ready, and for a moment, the worries of the past felt distant. Today was about joy, stories, and the community they had fused together. As he arrived at the park, the energy was electric. Families busily set up booths, children giggled as they ran around, and familiar faces joined in the camaraderie. There was a palpable sense of hope in the air. Sam spotted the elderly woman from before, now surrounded by children eager to hear the stories she had promised to share. Freshly baked goods wafted from a nearby stand, mingling with the sound of laughter. Sam caught sight of the stranger, who had now become an integral part of the organization. They moved through the crowd with ease, gathering people, their warm smile putting everyone at ease. Sam felt a rush of gratitude for bringing them into this vision. Their idea of a storytelling corner was in full swing, and as the first stories began to echo across the park, Sam knew this was the heart of the festival. Children and adults alike took turns at a makeshift podium, sharing tales that mingled laughter with heartfelt memories. One by one, they spoke of love, loss, and connection. Sam stood watching, feeling an overwhelming swell of emotion. Each story intertwined with the last, a tapestry stitched with the experiences of years gone by. But then Sam's heart sank as faces he had hoped would join turned away, clustering in small groups at the edge of the park. He needed to bring them in to witness the magic unfolding. With determination, he moved toward them, reaching out with a warm smile. Hey everyone! We're sharing stories about what this town means to us. He called out, gesturing to the crowd. You should come join. There's so much beauty to be found here. Jake stood there, arms crossed, skepticism still shadowing his face. We've got our own stories, Sam. But seriously, what's all this gonna change? Sam took a deep breath. Everything. You know our town. It's more than just the money troubles and the empty streets. It's about us and what we can share together. Come on, don't you feel it? Silence hung in the air. Sam's heart raced. Would they join him? Finally, the elderly woman appeared beside him. She smiled softly, her eyes sparkling. I'd love to share my story next if you'd like to join us. The cluster looked intrigued, tiny sparks of curiosity flickering in their eyes. One by one, they began to move, hesitant at first, but then stepping forward. There was strength in numbers, and together, they approached the storytelling corner. As the story flowed from the woman's lips, a hush enveloped the crowd, commanding attention. She spoke of her early days, how the community once thrived and how they had come together in tough times, just as they were today. Through her words, the air thickened with nostalgia, weaving connections from past to present. Little by little, Jake's defenses softened. He listened as the laughter and shared tears created space for empathy. The wall he'd built up slowly began to crumble, and just like that, a shared connection flickered to life. By the time it was Sam's turn, he felt buoyed by a wave of inspiration. He shared the struggles of his family and the longing for unity and despair, a narrative that tied each person in the crowd to a sense of belonging. As he finished, applause erupted, blanketing the park with a warmth that wrapped around them all. He spotted the young boy, his eyes wide with admiration, and knew they were on the brink of something truly transformative. Dusk began to fold the day into a warm embrace. The festival was alive, resonating with laughter and celebration. More stories were shared, bonds were formed, and embraces exchanged. A realization settled deep within Sam: this was just the beginning. Real change could sprout from these connections. The festival was a catalyst, but the true work lay ahead. Together we can keep this spirit alive, Sam announced, pulling people together as twilight set in. Let us not only celebrate today but create ongoing opportunities to share, listen, and heal. Everyone nodded, an unspoken agreement settling over the group. Suddenly, a beautiful sound thumped in the air: live music. The stranger, revealing their other talent, started a small live performance, drawing everyone into a soft rhythm. As people danced and sang along, it felt like the entire town was woven into a fabric of hope, joy, and connection. In that moment, Sam saw past anger and before skepticism. They were finally showing vulnerability, truly sharing their hearts. The festival was a success, but even more importantly, it ignited a promise for ongoing community. As he stood on the edge of this small universe of connection, surrounded by faces that felt like family, Sam knew they could navigate any storm together. This was the beginning of a new chapter for Maplewood, for all of them. Together, they could embrace the challenges ahead, wrapped in the warmth of their shared stories, their trials, and aspirations. More than anything, Sam realized the community was never really lost, it simply needed to be rediscovered through the truth of their experiences. That night, falling stars twinkled above like a promise of unity, growth, and friendship blossoming in the heart of Maplewood. Sam felt invincible. And the air hummed with dreams waiting to be shared, just like the stories that echoed around him. Now, dear viewers, as the story reaches an end, this is your moment. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss any more exclusive, heartwarming tales that inspire and unite. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm that thrives on connection. Comment below with your feelings about the incredible transformations we saw today. Your voice matters. And share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need to feel this uplifting spirit in their lives. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the love. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through each of these actions.